Philippe's Immigration Law Group now brings you Immigration Law on Your Side.
Alright, magandang gabi mga kababayan and welcome to another Immigration Law on Your Side right here at PHLV Radio. Finally, malamig na sa Las Vegas, masayang-masayang Las Vegas. Pero siyempre si Attorney Diza dyan sa bandang San Francisco ay medyo matagal nang medyo malamig. Pero ngayong gabi, as usual, every time we start the show, sinasabi natin na mainit ang ating pag-uusapan ngayon sa Immigration Law on Your Side. Ayan, wala mang kantahan dito sa programang ito, pero exciting pa rin kasi if you have previously applied for a US visa and you wanted to renew, malamang ay hindi na kayo kailangang mag-report pa for interview. Alamin natin tonight with Attorney Diza how you would be able to renew your visa hassle-free at hindi na kailangan pumunta sa embassy para mag-interview. Attorney Diza, magandang gabi po sa iyo and welcome to another Immigration Law on Your Side.
Magandang gabi Kuya Johan at maraming salamat ulit sa mga viewers and listeners natin at maganda ating pag-uusapan ngayon is a continuation of our program. If you recall last episode natin, ang pinag-usapan natin is yung how to obtain successful B1, B2 applications and that requires an in-person interview. At ngayon, ang pag-usapan natin, lalo mag-Christmas at marami sa ating mga kababayan at nakakuha na ng kanilang non-immigrant visa, how to skipping the interview at the embassy, the ultimate guide, as you mentioned kanina, hassle-free ng visa renewal. Yun natin pag-usapan ngayong gabi.
That's right. Okay, so simulan po natin, Attorney. Ang tanong kaagad ng ating mga kababayan, if they've already been issued a visa, most likely 10 years, and then after, kailangan nila mag-renew, are they eligible to have an interview-free renewal, Attorney?
Ang pag-uusapan natin ngayong gabi, yes Kuya Johan, ay sa mga non-immigrant visa at the embassy. But before we proceed with the non-immigrant visa interview, dito rin sa US, we've been talking this many times na especially during COVID time, Kuya Johan at mga viewers natin, yung mga marriage-based cases, especially if you document your relationship, merong visa interview waiver na, for the green card application at that definitely nababawasan ang trabaho ng mga immigration officers at saka siyempre sa mga immigration lawyers as well at saka sa mga aplikante din, di ba? Hindi na sila mag-off para lang i-meet ang kanilang abogado for the preparation and of course during the interview. So mostly in marriage-based cases for the adjustment of status or even the removal of condition, majority of the cases are now waive the interview as long as you provide documentation. Now the same thing with the non-immigrant visa, Kuya Johan, and I think these are pilot programs of the Department of State under the embassy. Especially during the COVID time na minimize nila ang in-person appearances sa mga tao, right? Kaya nagkaroon ng interview waiver. Now, sa US Embassy, hindi lang po ang mga tourist visa ang pwedeng i-waive or i-renew at magkakaroon ng interview waiver, kundi other types of visa, kagaya ng employment and student visa. Pero as you mentioned kanina, in many cases, pwedeng i-renew ang inyong B1, B2 or tourist visa without an interview. Tinatawag na interview waiver. Pero may mga qualifications yan, mga kababayan. Right? Hindi yung tipong nagkaroon ka na ng tourist visa in the past at pwede mo nang automatic na i-renew at you expect na walang interview. Now, may mga kondisyones as we mentioned kanina. Unang-una, your prior visa was valid for 10 years. Mostly sa mga kababayan natin na bibigyan ng mga 10 years, multiple entry ang tawag dyan. There are some situations then na ang US Embassy would only approve yung single entry na tinatawag, right? Isang beses lang ang bibigay sa iyo, right? Given like a year or 6 months or 3 years. So yun yung mga other types ng visa, ng validity ng visa. Na yung mga single entries na yan, binibigay usually yan kapag nag-apply ka ng emergency visa because you want to attend a funeral or attend a wedding or attend, visit a family member who's ailing na hindi na, maaabot pa kung patatagalin ang pagbisita. So, take note sa isa sa mga requirements dito para sa interview waiver ninyo. Ang unang-una, ang validity ng visa nyo is 10 years. Pangalawa, dapat ang inyong visa po ay valid pa or ka-expire lang within the last 48 months. Ibig sabihin, 2 years nang expired yung visa nyo. So kahit nakalimutan mo, di ba, nag-expire na pala more than 1 year, to 2 years na, pwede pa ba ako? The answer is yes, pwede pa. So napaka-lenient po yan, mga kababayan. Mostly sa mga applications dito sa US, if you want to file an extension on any type of visa, you should do that way before the expiration ng inyong, immigration benefits. Pero dito para makapag-exempt kayo ng interview, pwede pa-expire yung visa mo, valid pa yung visa mo, or kaka-expire pala within the last 48 months. Pangatlo, mga kababayan, yung pangalan po ninyo, yung date of birth, siyempre yung gender, right? Hindi pa nagbabago, right? Unless you have documentation for the change. So for example, siyempre yung visa po ninyo or yung kanyang passport ay nasa pangalan nyo during your single name, but you get married, right? So ibang pangalan na. So pwede ka pa rin magkaroon ng interview waiver if you can provide that, provide the marriage certificate showing that you got married and therefore you decided to follow the last name of your spouse, right? Or in many cases, especially in the US, pwede mag-change ng name, di ba? So by filing a petition before the court, right? If you can provide that change of name, pwede pa rin mag-skip ng interview. Of course, yung gender, hindi pa rin nagbago, right? Unless there's probably also a court order. Now, ang pang-apat dyan, Kuya Johan, your last visa was issued when you were 14 years old or older. Right? So, ang paging problema kasi, Kuya Johan, kaya nire-require yung mga below 14, nagbabago yung mukha, di ba? Let's say, you were 13 years old, ngayon, magto-20, 23 ka na. So, the reason why they want you to call for the interview or a biometrics is to make sure that the facial yung biometrics capture nyo maka-capture, hindi tipong baby pa kayo or batang-bata pa doon sa visa tapos iba na yung passport ninyo. That's the reason why they require people under 14 years old to be in person sa interview or do the biometrics. Now, sa mga requirements din para sa skipping the interview or interview waiver, your visa application, your previous visa application, of course, was approved at syempre walang denial, di ba? Or you haven't applied for visa extension or change of status through USCIS. So, ibig sabihin, halimbawa, on your 5th year sa inyong visa, nag-travel po kayo sa US and then naabutan kayo ng pandemic, you decided to extend your status, but unfortunately, if you file that extension, hindi po kayo pwede sa visa waiver. Or for example, nag-explore kayo ng options like, gusto ko mag-aral dito, nakahanap pa rin school, yung the I-20, and then you decided to change the status from B1, B2 to a student visa, and then either na-deny or na-approve ang inyong extension or change of status, then you cannot apply for request for a visa waiver. So it's really important. So yung mga factors or mga conditions na kailangan pumalaman ng ating mga kababayan na mayroong visa validity ng kanilang B1, B2 or any type of non-immigrant visa where they can expect an interview waiver.
Nabanggit yung attorney yung iba pang other non-immigrant visas, yung other visas like F1, student visa, yung ating H1B. Are these visas na pwedeng ma-waive ang interview process kung kailangan mag-renew?
The same conditions will be applied, and as you mentioned, yes, there are many types of non-immigrant visa that we discussed in the past. Hindi lang po B1, B2, kundi rin F1 or M1, yung mga vocational courses or professional degrees courses, right? It also applies for employment-based cases na mga non-immigrant visa kagaya ng H-1B to mga professional workers. As we mentioned in the past, ang H-1B is valid for 3 years, for example, and then you want to extend the status, pwedeng magkaroon ng interview waiver. Yung mga L1s din, like yung mga intra-company transfer that also applies to them, or yung mga entertainers visa kagaya ng O's and P's, or ano pa ba, those type of visas na pwedeng magkaroon ng interview waiver as long as those conditions are met, no? May valid pa ang kanilang visa and walang violation o walang prior extension, etc.
That's right. So, attorney, ang ating mga kababayan, they are excited to find out what the process is. Ano? Do they just go online, fill up the DS-160, and then pay the fee? And how do they send their passport? Is it through a courier service, attorney, like LBC?
Yes, it's through the courier service. Make sure to update or check the U.S. Embassy where you apply. Usually that's where you apply, or sa Travel Department of State website. It will link you to the embassy that you intend to apply. For example, sa U.S. Embassy in Manila, or if you're working in Saudi Arabia or in Canada. So may mga link po dyan, right, where to apply online. Of course, you have to create your own account and then make sure to complete and fill out the form, which is DS-160. Those are the applications for non-immigrant visa, and pay the required fees. And again, yung filing fees would be included, rather stated on the application form kung magkano yan. So I'm not going to say this in the program. It ranges from 185. So make sure that you have to check yung exact filing fees para hindi ma-reject ang application. And of course, print out the DS-160 and the confirmation page, especially send the photos, yung photographs po ninyo, yung interview waiver confirmation, and send it to the embassy through the LBC or any types of allowed courier by the embassy. And then once your visa is approved, hintayin mo po niyan para ibalik yung courier sa inyo, right? Or there's a possibility for request for evidence kung anong kulang, for example, that you need to submit, or probably there's also a possibility na baka ipatawag pa rin kayo ng interview. So those are the possible scenarios after you complete and apply the extension of your visa and then submission of your applications to the embassy.
Nabanggit yung attorney kanina na yung, say for example, yung bata na 14 years old and below na nag-apply ng kanyang unang visa, and then kailangan siyempre yung picture and everything. Are they able to request for some sort of an appointment na parang picture lang, wala nang interview, so biometrics only appointment? Is that possible?
That's one of the requirements now. Instead of the interview, they call it for interview at the embassy. You can apply for, you can set an appointment through the VAC, bagong sistema, na napakabagal. I mean, I hope the people at the VAC are listening, right? A lot of clients are really complaining that they are unable to schedule an appointment, right? So ito yung VAC appointment, Kuya Johan, for biometrics and fingerprints, right? They have to create the account and schedule an appointment. I always tell my clients that give more time, right? Ang isang buwan na ang VAC, ang hirap pa rin mag-set ng appointment. I hope that they will improve either the internet or ang kanilang sistema, kasi a lot of people are complaining, not only us as immigration lawyers with our staff and everything that bugs them and calls them, but also people who have the capacity to open and create an account. Ang hirap pa rin mag-set ng appointment, and people are waiting for that time to set an appointment, especially yung mga mag-expire ang kanilang the biometrics, but the medical, and they have to set an appointment. Still, it's really hard, and people are like, nakatutok na sila sa internet and waiting for the availability. Ang hirap pa rin mag-apply. This applies for people below 14 na instead na mag-interview sila sa embassy, they might just require for a biometrics at the VAC to capture the biometrics and their fingerprints.
With the application, attorney, as we always discuss, it may go both ways, no? You may be given the interview waiver. Are there also chances na, okay, you think you qualify for this interview waiver and all of a sudden, kailangan mo palang mag-interview, and how do you find out? Do they write you a letter or email you or something na kailangan mo mag-report for interview?
There's ways for the embassy to contact you. That's the reason why you provided your address, your email information, and your phone number. So just watch out for those messages sent to you, either those methods. May mga client tayo na tinatawagan din, right? Or in email, tinetext actually. Or sinusulatan. Because of course, sometimes it's better to like receive the information electronically, mas mabilis, di ba, kasi snail mail. Yes, make sure to watch those notices kung patawag po kayo, and then step back a little bit and you need to evaluate bakit kayo pinapatawag ng interview, right? There's nothing to alarm, but my recommendation sa mga kababayan natin is to look at possible questions why they're requiring for interview. Right. Unang-una siguro, kababayan, is, you have to find out kung ilang beses kayo nag-apply ng visa in the past, anong ginawa nyo sa United States, di ba? Baka naman may nag-snitch na sa inyo that at one time when you were in the US for 3 months, or 5 months, you were working under the table, as a caregiver or as a cook, as a waiter, etc. But make sure that you have to look back and see why. Kasi mahirap mo rin counter-argue yung consular officer if they have some form of evidence against you why they're calling for interview, and probably why the possibility of denying your extension. So those are some of the tips sa mga kababayan natin if and when you think you're eligible for a visa interview, yung pala pinapatawag kayo, and then you have to kind of evaluate yung prior stay nyo to the US and also prior applications with the embassy or immigration.
And then kung pinatawag kayo, say for example, ikaw ay nasa probinsya, attorney, pag pinatawag kayo, then you really have to go to Manila to report for the interview. There's no other way around it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I mean, this is in-person interviews. Wala namang phone or FaceTime.
Right.
Or Zoom interviews. I hope in the future this will work. But for now, it's all in person. But you need to go. Otherwise, Kuya Johan, if you are not able to attend for some emergency reasons or personal reasons, you need to inform the embassy. Otherwise, kung i-ignore po natin yan, syempre, madi-deny lang yung application ninyo at sayang naman yung deny yung filing fees.
That's right. And you'll have to do it all over again. Are there instances, attorney, na namimiss ng ating kababayan ng kanilang mga notices and all of a sudden nalaman nila na lang na, abandoned na ito or something?
Yeah, many instances, as we mentioned kanina, there are several ways that the embassy requires you to send notice. Typically, it's a written notice, right? But of course, they might try also to call you or gagawin lahat. Tatawagan ka o sasabihin, you have the interview on this date, but you also receive a notice by email or by mail. So just keep that in mind. And despite those efforts by the embassy people, officers, and you still fail to go, then they can deny your case, right? And what your options would be, either try to reopen, because either you can contend na wala naman po talaga kayong natanggap, or may natanggap kayo, request them for an interview and try to reopen so that you don't have to file or pay the filing fees again. Or the other option is, to refile again, just that you have to pay for the filing fees this second time.
All right. Mga kababayan, if you just joined us today, pinag-uusapan natin with Attorney Diza ang hassle-free renewal ng inyong mga US visas, especially itong mga tourist visas, B1, B2, and many other non-immigrant visas. Kung meron pa po kayong mga tanong, just comment lang po dito at paparating natin kay Attorney Diza. Attorney, baka meron pa po kayong pwedeng idagdag sa ating mga kababayan para sa kanilang mga visa renewal endeavors dyan sa Pilipinas.
Yes, ang topic po natin ay visa renewals ng mga non-immigrant visas. As you mentioned, Kuya Johan, it's a B1, B2, tourist visa for pleasure, employment-based cases, H1B, L1s, Os, and Ps, and student visas, F1, M1, So these are the types of non-immigrant visas. Hindi po applicable dyan ang mga immigrant visa interviews where you have to be in person, right, at the embassy for the actual interview. May mga exemption po sa kanila, but hindi pa po applicable ang interview waiver sa mga nag-apply ng non-immigrant rather than immigrant visa applications. So just if you think that you are eligible for the interview waiver, ang advice natin usually sa mga kababayan natin is renew your applications on time, right? On time in the sense na gaano ba ka far away bago pag-renew. Like, kung wala ko yung travels within the next 6 months to expire na yung visa, is ideally to file now within that period of time para merong yung processing time ng immigration to either approve your case or if they request for evidence, right? Or patawag ka ng interview, you have that window of time to prepare bago mag-expire in yung application. So yun po ang mga tips natin sa ating mga kababayan at sana po nakatulong ang ating episode ngayon sa mga kababayan natin. And I know a lot of you are still holders of a non-immigrant visa at ayaw yung permanently stay in the US and you just want to use that type of visa to come visit and work in the United States without a permanent residence in the US.
Naku, maraming salamat po, Attorney. And especially sa staff natin dyan sa Metro Manila, dyan sa Makati, I'm sure they'll be able to answer some questions of our kababayans who wanted to renew their visas while nandyan po sila sa Pilipinas. And yung inyong update regarding sa VAC, we promised them really that when this was implemented a few weeks ago, ay magbibigay tayo ng update sa ating mga kababayan kung kung kumusta ang implementation nito. At tulad nga ng nasabi ninyo, ay may mga rooms for improvement pa ang ating VAC. So, knock at hello po sa ating mga kababayan dyan sa VAC. Attorney, baka meron po kayong announcements from San Francisco.
Yes, well, sana ang VAC naman, ulitin lang natin, and I hope na nakikinig kasi a lot of clients are complaining, right? Improve ang kanilang sistema, especially magkakaroon tayo ng, holidays are coming. There's the Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, right? Maraming mga nagpaplanong mag-bisita dito sa United States. And of course, ang Reeves Immigration Law Group, mga kababayan, ay meron kami mga opisina dito sa San Francisco and Concord area, dito sa Northern California. Meron din po tayo sa Los Angeles, sa Makati. Meron tayong mga staff doon na tumutulong sa ating mga kababayan for the consular processing at saka siyempre mga non-immigrant visa interviews and appointments. And of course, one in China. Ang mga abogado natin ay immigration law specialists at we conduct ang maganda sa atin, Kuya Johan, in person, not necessarily in person. You can do your consultation in a lot of ways, right? Kagaya ng Zoom, if you wanna see us, you wanna see our offices, right? And also by phone or by in person. So you're free to visit our service. We charge $100 consultation, but we can waive that if you tell us that you watch and listen to us at PHLV Radio. Again, maraming salamat, Kuya Johan, at malapit na ang December. Maligayang Pasko na rin sa mga kababayan natin. Saan man po kayo.
Maraming salamat po, Attorney, and advance happy holidays na sa inyo dyan sa San Francisco. Halloween, mga kababayan, Thanksgiving, sunod-sunod na yan. But kami po ni Attorney, we will remain here serving you ng ating mga information para sa ating immigration journey. Galing din sa Pilipinas or any other country in the world going here to the United States. Again, Attorney, maraming salamat. And guys, thank you for tuning in sa ating Immigration Law on Your Side right here at PHLV Radio. We will see you again next time.
Reeves Immigration Law Group has just brought you Immigration Law on Your Side, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Pacific on PHLV Radio.